Hey Sagittarius, I just pulled cards for you and wow, the energy coming through is really intense right now. So, I'm seeing someone in your orbit who is absolutely fuming with anger because things are not going the way they planned. This person had a very specific vision of how they wanted to control or manipulate a situation involving you, and it's completely falling apart for them. The universe is really showing me some wild stuff today about someone who thought they had all the power and now they're realizing they have none. Before we dive deep into this reading, I want you to understand something really important. The cards are revealing not just surface-level drama here, but actual spiritual warfare happening around you right now. There's someone who is operating from a place of such deep frustration and rage that they're literally staying up at night plotting and scheming. I know that sounds dramatic, but that's genuinely what the energy is showing me. This isn't your everyday jealousy or competition. This is someone who has built an entire identity around controlling outcomes, and you're the one thing they cannot control. Alright, so the first card that came out literally jumped out of the deck and it's death. Now before anyone panics. Death in tarot is about transformation and endings, not physical death. But what's fascinating here is this card is showing up as what they are experiencing, not you. This person is going through a complete death of their ego and their plans. Everything they tried to build, every manipulation they attempted, every scheme they put into motion is crumbling. And Sagittarius, they are pissed about it. The death card here is showing me someone who refuses to accept that their time is up, that their methods no longer work, that their influence is gone. They're like someone trying to hold on to sand as it slips through their fingers, getting more and more desperate with each grain that falls. What's really interesting about this death card in your reading is the positioning. It's not coming up as something happening to you, it's happening around you. You're actually protected from this energy, but you need to be aware of it because this person's desperation is making them unpredictable. When people are backed into a corner, and they feel like they're losing everything, that's when they become dangerous. Not necessarily in a physical way, but definitely in an energetic and emotional way. They might start spreading rumors. They might try to turn people against you. They might attempt some last-ditch effort to regain control. The death card is warning you that someone is in their death throes, metaphorically speaking, and thrashing around trying to take others down with them. The second card I pulled is Two of Wands, and oh my goodness, this is telling me so much about the psychology of this person. Two of Wands is about planning, strategy, looking out at the horizon and plotting your next move. This person has been standing at their metaphorical window just staring at your life, planning their next attack, their next manipulation. They've had vision boards about you. They've had detailed plans about how to insert themselves back into your life or how to disrupt your peace. Two of Wands shows someone who genuinely believed they were the master strategist here, the chess player who could see 10 moves ahead. But here's where it gets really interesting with the Two of Wands. This card also represents a crossroads, a decision point. And right now this person is realizing that every path they look down leads to the same conclusion. They have no real power over you anymore. Imagine spending months or even years convinced you're this brilliant manipulator, this puppet master pulling strings, only to wake up one day and realize all your strings were attached to nothing. That's what's happening to this person right now. Every plan they make falls flat. Every manipulation they attempt backfires. Every time they think they've found a new angle to work, it closes before they can exploit it. The Two of Wands is also showing me that this person is quite literally losing sleep over this. They're staying up at night going over scenarios in their head, trying to figure out where they went wrong, trying to find that one magic move that will give them back their perceived power. This is someone who cannot accept defeat gracefully. They're the type who would rather burn everything down than admit they lost. And Sagittarius, that's why you need to be so careful right now, especially at night. Not because anything bad is definitely going to happen, but because nighttime is when this person's energy is most active, most desperate, most likely to reach out in unhealthy ways. Now the third card coming through is Four of Cups, and this is absolutely fascinating in this context. Four of Cups traditionally shows someone sitting under a tree, arms crossed, ignoring 3 cups in front of them while a 4th cup is being offered by a hand from the clouds. Usually this represents apathy, boredom, or depression. But in this reading, it's showing me how this person is perceiving you right now. They see you as someone who has rejected their offers, their manipulation, their attempts to engage. You're that figure under the tree who is just completely unbothered by what they're trying to hand you. What's making this person so angry according to the Four of Cups is that you're not playing the game anymore. You're not reacting the way they want you to react. You're not engaging with their drama. You're not giving them the satisfaction of knowing they got under your skin. The Four of Cups shows that you've reached this place of genuine disinterest in their nonsense, and that is absolutely driving them crazy. They keep throwing out bait, trying to get a reaction, trying to pull you into their chaos, and you're just sitting there like, nope, not interested. I'm good. This Four of Cups is also showing me that this person is projecting their own disappointment onto you. They think you must be miserable or sad or missing them or their presence in your life. They've convinced themselves that you're sitting around regretting whatever boundary you set or whatever decision you made that cut off their access to you. But the reality is, you're actually just peaceful. You're content. You've moved on. And somehow your peace is more offensive to them than any argument or confrontation ever could be. Your indifference is their kryptonite. The fourth card that came through is Nine of Pentacles and Sagittarius. This is what's really fuming them up. Nine of Pentacles is the card of independence, self-sufficiency, and luxury that you've created for yourself. This card shows a person standing in their own garden that they cultivated with their own hands, enjoying the fruits of their own labor. This is you right now. You're in your own energy, building your own life, creating your own abundance, and you're doing it all without this person. And that fact is absolutely eating them alive. The Nine of Pentacles is showing me that this person had convinced themselves that you needed them. They thought they were essential to your happiness, your success, your stability. They genuinely believed that without their presence or their input or their involvement, you would struggle or fail or come crawling back. But instead, you're thriving. You're out here living your best life, looking good, doing well, completely unbothered. And every time they check on you, whether that's through social media stalking or mutual friends or however they're keeping tabs, they see you winning. And it's making them absolutely furious. What's really beautiful about the Nine of Pentacles in this position is that it's showing your authentic power. This isn't fake it till you make it energy. This isn't you pretending to be okay while you're secretly struggling. No. This is genuine contentment and prosperity that you've built for yourself. You're that person in the garden, and the garden is flourishing because you kicked out the weeds, which is what this person was in your life. They were taking up space, draining resources, blocking sunlight from the things that actually deserve to grow. And now that they're gone, everything is blooming. All right, the fifth card coming through is Seven of Cups, and this is showing me the mental state of this angry person right now. Seven of Cups is the card of illusion, confusion, and unrealistic fantasies. This person's mind is absolutely all over the place right now. They're creating fantasy scenarios about confronting you, about what they would say to you, about how they would make you feel small or make you regret your choices. They're living in these elaborate daydreams where they somehow come out on top and you come crawling back apologizing. The Seven of Cups is also showing me that this person cannot distinguish between reality and their own delusions anymore. They've created this entire narrative in their head about who you are, what you want, what you need, and how the story between you two should go. But none of it is based on actual reality. It's all projection and fantasy and wishful thinking. They're literally arguing with a version of you that only exists in their imagination. The real you, the actual you, is off living your life completely differently than how they've imagined it in their head. What makes the Seven of Cups particularly dangerous in this reading is that it shows someone who might act on their delusions. When someone is this disconnected from reality, when they've built up these elaborate stories in their mind, they might do something impulsive or irrational trying to force their fantasy to become reality. That's another reason why the cards are saying to be very careful. Especially at night. Nighttime is when the boundary between fantasy and reality gets even thinner for people who are already confused. This person might send weird messages at 2 in the morning, might show up places unexpectedly, might do things that made perfect sense in their fantasy but are completely inappropriate in real life. The sixth card that showed up is Knight of Cups, and I find this really interesting because this is typically such a romantic, dreamy card. But in this context, it's showing me how this person is trying to present themselves versus what they actually are. Knight of Cups can represent someone who comes in with big romantic gestures, pretty words, and emotional appeals. This person might be trying to reach out to you or planning to reach out with some kind of emotional manipulation disguised as reconciliation or closure, or whatever story they're telling themselves. The Knight of Cups here is showing me someone who thinks they can charm their way back in. They genuinely believe that if they just say the right words, make the right gesture, show up with the right energy, you'll forget all the reasons you created distance in the first place. They're crafting these speeches in their head, practicing what they'll say, how they'll appeal to your emotions. But Sagittarius, the cards are showing me that this is all performance. This is manipulation dressed up in pretty packaging. The Knight of Cups reverse would be the fake romantic, and even upright in this reading, it's showing me someone who is using emotional language as a weapon rather than speaking from genuine feeling. What you need to understand about this Knight of Cups energy is that this person will try to memory lane you. They'll bring up good times, they'll reminisce about moments that felt special. They'll try to make you doubt your own boundaries by painting a picture of what could be if you just gave them another chance. But the cards are very clear here that this is strategy, not sincerity. This is someone who has studied what makes you tick and they're preparing to push all those buttons in a very calculated way. They're not coming from the heart, they're coming from the ego, from that desperate need to win and regain control. The seventh card I'm seeing is Seven of Swords and wow, this confirms everything I just said about the Knight of Cups. Seven of Swords is the card of deception, sneakiness, and strategy that isn't exactly above board. This card literally shows someone sneaking away with swords they didn't earn, taking things that don't belong to them. This person is planning something sneaky, Sagittarius. They're not going to come at you directly because they know that won't work. Instead, they're plotting some kind of backdoor approach, some way to slip back into your life or your consciousness without you realizing what's happening until it's too late. The Seven of Swords is showing me that this person might use other people as pawns. They might send friends to talk to you about them, to plant seeds of doubt or guilt. They might create situations where you'll accidentally run into them. They might manipulate circumstances to make themselves look like a victim or to make you look like the bad guy. This is someone who is very invested in controlling the narrative, and they're willing to be dishonest to do it. They'll lie to others about what happened between you two. They'll conveniently leave out their own wrongdoing. They'll paint themselves as the heartbroken one who just wants closure. What's particularly important about the Seven of Swords in this reading is the warning to guard your energy and your information. This person might be trying to gather intel about you through various channels. They want to know what you're doing, who you're seeing, how you're feeling, what your vulnerabilities are right now. Not because they care about you, but because they want to find an opening they can exploit. Be mindful about what you share on social media. Be careful about who you trust with personal information, because the Seven of Swords is showing that there might be people feeding information back to this person without you realizing it. The eighth card coming through is Five of Swords, and this is heavy. Five of Swords is about conflict, defeat, and winning at all costs even if it means losing your integrity. This card is showing me that this person has already lost the real battle. But they're so focused on appearing to win that they're willing to do anything to save face. Five of Swords shows someone standing over defeated opponents, holding swords with a smirk, but if you look closely at the traditional imagery, you can see the other figures walking away. They've chosen to disengage rather than continue a pointless fight. That's exactly what's happening here. You've chosen peace over conflict. You've decided that winning an argument with this person isn't worth losing your peace. You've walked away from the battlefield because you realized the whole war was pointless. But this person is still standing there holding their metaphorical swords, desperately trying to claim victory in a battle that everyone else has already left. And that's what's making them so angry. They want you to fight them. They want you to engage. They want the satisfaction of a big dramatic showdown where they can prove they were right or make you hurt or force you to acknowledge them in some way. The Five of Swords is also warning about someone who fights dirty. This is not someone who values fair play or honest communication. If they feel threatened or defeated, they will hit below the belt. They will bring up things from the past that should stay in the past. They will twist your words. They will try to hurt you emotionally because they're hurting and they want you to hurt too. The good news is, the cards are showing me that their tactics won't work because you're operating from a higher vibration now. But the warning is still there to be prepared for the possibility of them trying something low. The ninth card I pulled is Three of Wands, and this is actually a really positive card for you in all of this. Three of Wands shows someone standing on a cliff looking out at ships coming in, representing success, expansion, and things you've set in motion that are now paying off. While this other person is stuck in their anger and their schemes. You're literally watching your ships come in. You're seeing the results of your hard work, your healing, your growth. The universe is lining up opportunities for you. Connections are being made. Doors are opening. The Three of Wands in this reading is showing me that you're in an expansion phase of your life. You're thinking bigger, dreaming bigger, seeing possibilities that you couldn't see when you were weighed down by this toxic connection. This person's absence from your life has actually created space for so much better to come in. And on some level, they can sense this. They can feel that you're moving into a new chapter that doesn't include them. And it's absolutely terrifying to them. The Three of Wands shows that you're looking forward while they're stuck looking backward. And that contrast is stark. What I love about the Three of Wands here is that it's showing successful planning and strategy that actually works, which is so different from that Two of Wands energy this other person has where their plans keep failing. Your plans are working out. Your vision is manifesting. You're building something real and solid and beautiful. And you're doing it without any of the manipulation or control that this other person relies on. You're doing it through authentic action, genuine connections, and trust in the universe's timing. The ships are coming in for you, Sagittarius. And this person can see them from the shore. And they're furious that they're not on any of those ships. The 10th and final card coming through is Ten of Swords, and this is the completion of this person's cycle. Ten of Swords is the card of complete defeat. Rock bottom, the end of a painful cycle. This card shows someone face down with 10 swords in their back. But what people often miss is that the sun is rising in the background of this card. It's the darkness before the dawn. For this person, the Ten of Swords is showing me that they're about to hit a real moment of reckoning. All their schemes, all their anger, all their attempts to control the situation are going to come to a final conclusion, and it's not going to be what they wanted. The Ten of Swords in this position is showing me that this person is going to have to face the consequences of their own actions. They're going to have to confront the fact that they pushed away someone who actually cared at one point, that they destroyed something that could have been good, that they chose ego over genuine connection, and that realization is going to be painful for them. It's going to feel like defeat, like everything is crashing down. But the cards are showing me that this is actually necessary for their own growth, even though they're going to resist it every step of the way. For you, Sagittarius, the Ten of Swords is confirmation that this cycle is complete. Whatever this connection was, whatever chapter this represents in your life, it's done. The ending might feel dramatic or messy because that's the nature of the Ten of Swords, but it's a definitive ending. There's no resurrection here. There's no coming back from this. And while this person might make a lot of noise in their final thrashing around, the outcome is already decided. They've already lost whatever they think they're fighting for. The battle is over, even if they haven't accepted it yet. So let me bring all of this together for you. Someone in your sphere is absolutely fuming with rage right now because their plans have fallen apart and they cannot control you. This person is experiencing a death of their ego, and their influence is shown by the Death card. They're up at night with the Two of Wands trying to strategize their way back into power. You've completely checked out with the Four of Cups, which is driving them even crazier. Meanwhile, you're thriving with the Nine of Pentacles, living your best independent life. This person is lost in fantasies and delusions with the Seven of Cups, planning to approach you with fake emotional appeals shown by the Knight of Cups. They're being sneaky with the Seven of Swords, fighting dirty with the Five of Swords. All while you're moving forward into expansion with the Three of Wands. And ultimately, they're heading toward complete defeat with the Ten of Swords while you're rising. The warning to be careful at night comes from multiple cards here. The Two of Wands shows them planning in the darkness. The Seven of Swords shows sneaky nighttime energy. The Seven of Cups shows confusion between fantasy and reality, which gets worse after dark. This doesn't mean something terrible will definitely happen, but it means their energy is most active and most potentially disruptive during nighttime hours. Maybe they're more likely to send weird messages late at night. Maybe they drive past your place in the evening. Maybe they social media stalk at 3 in the morning. Whatever form it takes, Just be extra aware during those hours. My guidance for you is to maintain your boundaries like they're made of steel. Don't engage with any attempts at communication, no matter how they're packaged. Don't let mutual friends pull you into conversations about this person. Don't check up on them, don't respond to indirect messages, don't fall for nostalgia bait. Keep doing exactly what you're doing, which is living your life authentically and letting the universe handle the karma. You're protected, you're guided, and you're heading in a beautiful direction. This person's anger is their own prison, and you don't need to visit them there. Also, trust your intuition right now. If something feels off, if you get a weird vibe about a situation or a person, listen to that. Your inner guidance is particularly strong during this time, and it will warn you if this person is trying to approach through indirect means. The cards are showing protection around you, but part of that protection is your own awareness and wisdom. You know what red flags look like now. You know what manipulation feels like. You won't be fooled again. And finally, keep focusing on your own garden like that Nine of Pentacles figure. Keep watering your own plants. Keep investing in yourself, your growth, your dreams, your authentic connections. The best response to someone else's chaos is your own peace and prosperity. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to make this person understand anything. You just need to keep walking forward on your path and let them figure out their own journey however they need to. Someone wanted to know if they sense this energy too, and honestly, if you're a Sagittarius reading this and this situation resonates, then yes, you're probably picking up on exactly what I'm describing. Trust what you're feeling. Your intuition is not making things up. If you sense someone obsessing over you or plotting or being weirdly focused on your life, you're probably right. The energy doesn't lie, and the cards confirm what you already know deep down. Stay safe, stay protected, stay in your power. This situation is resolving itself in your favor, even if it looks messy from certain angles. The universe has your back, and this person's anger is really just the sound of their own consequences catching up with them. You're good. You're more than good. You're thriving, and that's exactly as it should be.